How's it going, everybody? I'm Chaos, and today I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about Battlefield 2042. It's the next upcoming game. I'm sure that we're all very excited about it. However, DICE needs to get some things, in my opinion, they need to get these things right in order for the game to feel right. So just for context, I'm not the most veteran Battlefield player. I started playing from Battlefield 4 and I played that to death. I played that game so much I can't even talk about it on PlayStation. Then I transitioned over to computer when I bought my PC, and it's been a blast. I played I played a ton of Battlefield 1. Did not play Battlefield Hardline, so I think that makes me a true Battlefield fan because I didn't play Hardline. I also got a little bit into Battlefield 5, not as much as I would have liked to, but I certainly did enjoy that game as well. Let's get into these topics and let me know what you guys think down in the comments, if you agree or if there's something different in your opinion that DICE needs to get right in the next game, really. Number one is gun feel, the gun game. Essentially, when I started with Battlefield 4, that game just felt right. The guns just shot. It's just so satisfying. Even going back to them now, the guns just feel right. Shooting them feels right. I don't know what the exact word is or the description, but the guns just feel right. When I transitioned over from Battlefield 4 to Battlefield 1, the gun game was still right. The gun feel was still there. The true essence of Battlefield. It's not like COD. It's not like the other games that I've played. It's not like other shooters, but essentially true essence of Battlefield was still in Battlefield 1. However, when I played Battlefield 5, and I think this was because I just didn't give it enough time for me to get used to it. I'm used to it by now, but the gun game in Battlefield 5 just didn't feel right. The guns just felt light when I'm shooting them. I feel like they don't have any weight, too much recoil. It's not even the recoil, it just, when I'm shooting the gun, I feel like I don't have control. Even with the recoil control, like pulling the mouse down or pulling the analog stick down, it just doesn't feel right. They need to have that core essence that was in Battlefield 4 and a little bit in Battlefield 1 as well. Now, I didn't play Battlefield. I've played a little bit of Battlefield 3, and it's sort of in there. Now, I may be burned to death just for saying this, but I don't feel the gun game in Battlefield 3 is too great. I much prefer the one in Battlefield 4. However, that is just an opinion. Now, I did play the beta for BF 2042, and I'll be honest, it didn't feel right. So I'm really hoping that for the actual release, they really hone into that gun feel and make it feel strong and centered. And when you're shooting someone, you feel like it's you who's doing the shooting, you're in control, and not the gun just flailing all over the place and basically no recoil control at all. Now, the second thing is movement. Let's see. The movement, basically all the games that I've played so far, the movement is best in Battlefield 5. Battlefield 5 undoubtedly has the best movement mechanics, just the whole feel, running, animations, the prettiness of the game. I don't really care about graphics, to be honest, but just in general, like the whole movement and the charisma of the game is there. Even though as much as I like Battlefield 4, the movement in that game was horrible. Just something as leaping over a small ledge is a struggle. Like, if the thing is 2 centimeters above where your character is meant to jump over, you can't get over it. But in Battlefield 5, if something's too high, the animation is gonna let you know that you can't climb that because that's too high, or there are things that you can climb that is just amazing. Honestly, it just makes the game so much more fun. It gives you a lot more flanking options, a lot more options to go and attack your enemies, and try and capture a flag, whatever you have it. And also that slide, honestly, that slide in Battlefield 5 is probably my favorite thing about the whole movement thing. It's just so smooth. I think it does it better than any other game except Apex Legends. I think Apex Legends' actual movement slide feels a lot more fluid and things like that. However, it is still EA. Well, EA is just a publisher. It is still the same ecosystem. So hopefully some of that features is going to trickle into Battlefield 2042. And we'll see. And by the way, there are fireworks for some reason being shot outside my house. So if you hear some pops, it's that. Basically, if they can get the good bits from the previous Battlefields, except Hardline. No one likes Hardline. It's like that weird child that no one wants to take care of, or like no parent wants to take responsibility for. It's just a weird game. I don't know. I don't even want to talk about it. So essentially, if they can get all the good bits from the previous games that people really enjoyed and just mush it together and put it in Battlefield 2042, I think this will be the longest standing, like, or played Battlefield that we've got so far. Hands down. I don't think there's any room for any argument right there. And now for number 3, let's talk about performance. Now, we know that the majority of the Battlefield, the core fan base of Battlefield, are PC players. I'm a PC player. Now, one issue I do have with the newer games, and this is not directly their fault, like this is not DICE's fault. However, I feel like the performance requirements are getting steeper and steeper, and especially with the shortage in the, GPU market, and it being so expensive and not accessible for the majority of people, we can't play these games with a reasonable FPS. Now, for example, for my setup, I have a Ryzen 5 3600 and a RX 5600 XT. It's a great combo, no problems with it. But for some goddamn reason, my CPU usage is in the 80s, whilst my GPU usage is in the 60s to 70s. But in this game, my GPU is so bottlenecked out of its mind, and I don't know what the reason is. I've tried to increase the graphics settings, and it doesn't help. Decreasing it to the lowest settings, it doesn't make that much of a difference. And it's only this game, really. This one and Battlefield 1 as well, a little bit. In Apex, it runs smoothly. Call of Duty runs smoothly. Basically any other game runs smoothly. Play at 120 FPS plus. Low settings, but those are competitive games, so you're going to be playing at low settings anyway. So, I want the performance to be there. If they are giving you the option to decrease the quality settings, I want it to be an impactful change on your performance. Now, Battlefield 5, I think in Battlefield 5, it does do this quite well, I think. It's only a few maps that my computer has trouble with, and I think the main one is the Operation Metro, recreated map. The other maps, if it's an open field, and I play on the lowest settings, and it's really beautiful, and I get 100 plus FPS, and for me, that's plenty, and I can get all the gameplay I want out of it, so I don't need any more than that. Especially with a little bit of motion blur, and it kind of smoothing out the interpolated frames. It just works well. I know some people are going to cringe that I play with motion blur, but it is what it is. I actually do like the effect of motion blur, so that's a topic for a whole different day. But essentially, if the performance requirements are too high, it's not going to be as accessible to people, at least not for quite a while, until we can get hold of more GPUs. Now, there is the argument that obviously there's next-gen consoles, but yes, there are people going to play on consoles, but that's more so the casual fan base that's going to be playing it. Yes, there are hardcore players on console, the sweaty people, but that's not a lot. And even though in general the numbers on console are much higher, basically if they can make the PC people happy, I don't care what they do with the console. They couldn't just, they might as well just not release it. I couldn't care. Just make the PC people happy, With number 4, I want there to be some clear progression and instructions. Now, I'll be honest, even though I'm a die-hard Battlefield player and a Battlefield fan, I'm very stupid. Unless you give me very clear instructions on what things do, how to use things, how to progress things, how to unlock a gun, I'm not gonna know. I'll have to look up 20 different guides to get the thing. I want it to be very nice and simple, described in words or a figure or a short video, how to use certain things. Now, come on, let's be honest. When I was playing the beta of 2042, I had no idea how to use the syringe to either heal people or heal myself. I had no idea how it works. I knew it was shooting, but it didn't make any sense of how it was working. It kind of got me frustrated, and I'd play with a different class altogether. Battlefield 5 did this pretty well, I think. I still did struggle on how to unlock certain skins and guns, or how to find my class rank and how much I got into or how much I had left for the next rank. So there were some issues there with Battlefield 5. Battlefield 1, I think it did it okay. Battlefield 4, I think, did it marvelously. Everything had a progress bar. It clearly told you what you need to do to get certain tasks and unlock guns. Like unlocking the Ace 23 in Battlefield 4 was very straightforward. You just had to look. I had to unlock, I think, a combat medic, assault rifle. I don't know, a few medals of that. May get a few certain kills, and it was straightforward, and that's what was nice about it. In that game, pretty much I unlocked every single thing in that, for every single gun. So it was part of the thrill because it was easy and nice and straightforward to know what I was doing, and obviously on top of the gun game anyway. So it was fun to do, but I feel like I had a bit of I struggled a little bit with the other games and how to unlock certain things. I feel like when I got a certain gun, I feel like I just got it because I played it for a certain time, not because I intended to unlock that thing, if you know what I mean. So hopefully they improve the overall ecosystem. I don't know if that's the right word in that regard. And the last thing, and which arguably is probably the most important as an enjoyment factor, is better team setup and like pre-team making. So if you want to play with a couple of your friends and set up a squad, basically in the previous games, Battlefield 5 and Battlefield 1, for me at least, it was a complete nightmare. When I was trying to get people to join my game, it was a nightmare. When I was trying to join people's game, it was a nightmare. It wouldn't work. It would try and join their game, but then it would get stuck in the loop and then kick me out of the queue. Obviously, making squads in those two games did not work at all. So I don't know why they mess it up so much. In Battlefield 4, it was a little bit better. It still didn't work out too well. I think COD Warzone does this really nicely. It's very straightforward. You add your friend on your account, click them, request join, or send an invite. Straightforward. You can all join the game all together. It's very simple. But for some reason, the best one is in Battlefield 4, and the one in Battlefield 4 is not the best. It's not very good either. So I think if they can improve the way you can join each other and play together with your friends or someone that's where, to be honest, that's where the actual fun bit comes from, is when you play with someone that even if your team is doing absolute horribly, you're losing by 800 tickets to 200 tickets, even if you're losing that badly, you're still having fun because you have someone there to speak to and talk to and mess about and do stupid things. And especially with the sandbox aspect of this game, which is they're really trying to push that in their showcases and videos and things like that, that does not change the fact that they really need to work on that bit. I feel like if they can get that right, the rest should just fall in place over time. Just in Battlefield 4, pretty much really all the Battlefields, they all have a crappy launch. Let's be honest, this one's not going to be any different. It's going to be a crap launch. However, if they can get some of the basics, which are essentially these ones, these 5 things, these are the baseline, in my opinion, that if DICE can release the game with this in a good standard, people will have a fun time. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, if you agree or disagree, and we'll have a discussion. And hopefully DICE will come to our wishes and give us a really good game. So thank you so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, give it a like. If you didn't, a dislike. Subscribe for more, and I'll catch you in the next one.
Yeah.